Hey, sorry about that. There goes our ambulance. Perfect. Maybe that's the only one tonight.
I've never known of an ambulance to work on fucking like a time schedule.
No. Well,
but every night at fucking midnight or something, it always fucking runs.
We're a block away, a week away from welfare days, so they're not quite as frequent as usual right now. But all right, let's jump in. I got nothing, so I'm just gonna do this real quick. Hi there. Happy Friday. It's October 19th, 2018, and I'm Eric. Talking at you as always from beautiful downtown Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, where for the first time ever, people actually give a shit that Kamloops exists.
Why?
The one and only government-operated pot store in British Columbia is in Kamloops. And they're all over the news. They're planning for 38, I believe, in the province, but that's the only one that's managed to open so far. But they did a big tour of it today. A bunch of politicians did a big tour of it, showing off their new fancy store. It's a joke.
Right.
But meanwhile, cops in Toronto shut down 4 dispensaries today.
Exactly.
Good thing pot's legal. I bet those dispensary guys feel real good that they protested for that for years.
Yeah, protested so you can all get shut down so they don't believe in small business. They don't allow anybody separately to make money off anything.
Well, it's no secret that the Liberal government's never been a fan of small business, but I think this is the most blatant attack on it, I think, in our lifetime, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know about previous to our lifetime, and I don't care. I wasn't alive. But, yeah, it's just shocking. Trudeau is really, I'm not even kidding. He's really showing his true colors, I think, lately.
Yeah.
And I hope people are appropriately disappointed in him.
Well, it definitely seems like it. I mean, much like anything, there's the supporters on both sides. I do see supporters on Facebook of Trudeau, which I don't fully understand. My mom is kind of on the side of Liberal, but only for like certain things, which I understand. Like, she's good because Liberals are good for, like we've always said, Liberals are good for hospitals and education.
Yes.
And, well, Conservatives are not. Conservatives are good for business. Yeah, conservatives are good for business. So,
yeah,
it's tough that it all has to keep going in these bullshit ways instead of getting everybody in like these good sort of utopian society where, you know, we have good hospitals with no major wait times. We have education system that's not dated out of the fucking 60s.
Yeah.
And a bunch of privately run businesses where people can make fucking money.
I know very few people will agree with me on this, but I guarantee you, had we let Harper navigate the last 4 years, it would have been very, very different. And quite beneficial, I think, to all of us. I really think he deserved another 4 years to get shit done. Things went well under Harper. I don't know. People tend to forget, you know, because of he had his flaws, his blocking of the media, that kind of thing. But the country ran smoothly. You never heard anything. For 4 years, you didn't hear anything because nothing was happening. He was running it well.
Yeah, it's true, but also, like I said, keep in mind, he also canned, 8,000 fucking nurses?
True.
You know what I mean? Again, it just keeps reiterating the same fucking point over and over again.
That's a lot of provincial involvement as well.
Yeah, but it was his overall decision.
That's true.
He's the one who pushed the agenda. He just made everybody else have to fucking do it.
See, that's one that baffles me. I don't get I don't understand maybe there's some sort of history to it that I don't know, but I don't know why we're not giving more power to nurses rather than less. I mean, they're more able than doctors, right, as far as I can tell, for the most part.
Yeah, doctors was one thing. They deal with everything.
Yeah, and why are we not supporting that, encouraging that, letting nurses give injections and so forth? Make them as important as they are. I don't get why we don't support our nurses. But then again, I don't get why we don't support ambulance drivers either. That just blows my mind. So, yeah, I don't know.
They don't have a lot of fucking brains when it comes to these people, that's for sure.
There really isn't a single good brain between them, and I don't think it's going to be any different after the election next year. I'm not real optimistic about the state of the country. I don't like the way this guy's handled it. I had high hopes for him. I really did. I wanted him to prove me wrong, and he hasn't, unfortunately.
Well, the only thing that rated your whole statement was high hopes, because, high.
That's good stuff. Yeah, that's all we're getting. It's just puns about pot for the next 4 years. I was checking out Facebook last night, because I haven't done that in weeks. I've been totally ignoring it. And it was just constant. Every second thing on Facebook was something to do with pot.
Yep.
Even my 77-year-old aunt in Port Coquitlam was saying, "Oh, make sure you don't toke around the children."
Oh, but come on, kids need it too.
Well,
I kid about that because that's the reason why I walked out of the last 420 event.
That's right. You told me about that.
Fucking pissed about that. What a dick.
I learned it from you. Remember that commercial? I love that.
Yeah.
Where did you learn how to do this? I learned it from you. Good times. Yeah, the country's fucked. It's going to be interesting, I guess, for the next year or so. See what happens. I don't have a lot to say about it tonight, unfortunately. I'm almost numb to it at this point.
Yeah, that's understandable.
It's just gotten to be too much. I am wondering where Jagmeet is still. I don't understand why Jagmeet's not out there more, doing more. It's freaking me out that Justin could be running basically unchallenged next year. Because no one's going to support this NDP guy. Nobody knows him. Nobody knows anything about the guy. He got elected, then he to the head of the party, and then he just kind of fell off the face of the earth.
Shit.
And for a very, I use this term properly, for a very flamboyant leader, you'd think he would just be out there every day. He's got the bright clothes and the bright turbans, and he's young and sexy, and it should be Bollywood every day in Toronto. He should be, Ottawa, I guess, but really it's Toronto. We all know. We all know what the real capital of Canada is.
Yeah, that's true. Ontarians definitely think so.
Oh yeah, that is my absolute favorite part of the movie Canadian Bacon. When they just wouldn't believe everyone's trying to tell them to go blow up Ottawa. And they're arguing, going, "Come on, you're trying to tell us Toronto's not the capital of Canada? How dumb do you think Americans are?" Great movie. If you haven't seen it recently, I highly recommend it. It's the only decent movie Michael Moore has made in years. And it's the least fictitious one. Michael Moore burn. Real quick, just before we get into whatever the hell we're going to get into tonight, I do want to make a couple of announcements because, goddamn, I've never been so excited in my life. Some big things happening. One, I didn't tell you about because I do that. It entertains me. Ladies and gentlemen, we are looking to start monetizing. We are, as I said, looking for a new name for the show. Please send in your suggestions. Make it a new thing. From here out, we're going to start a new show, I'm going to say within the month. We need your suggestions. So if ever I've begged you to write in, call in, email, tweet, whatever you feel like doing, please. We have an opportunity to really look good here. We've already got some Twitter followers. in the industry. Very cool. I just started that page at 3 o'clock this morning, and we already have followers. So yeah, we're starting to scratch the surface.
That's fucking awesome.
It really is. We're still on the outside looking in, but people are looking at us as well. It's the coolest thing that could ever happen to me. Now, the really coolest thing that could ever happen to me, I don't know if you know, Gord, but there are podcast networks, very similar to radio networks and television networks, which is they get a bunch of shows and host them and promote them and publicize them, and you're on a network, just as you would be if you were a radio station or a television show.
Shit. Okay.
There's many of them. Lots. They're all over. And they make money and they help each other out. And your good buddy Kevin Smith happens to have one.
Oh.
That he is the head of. He does several podcasts, including one with Jay Muse. I think it's called Jay and Silent Bob Are Getting Old. I haven't heard it yet. It seems really funny. I mean, anything Jay Muse does is funny.
That's true.
Anyway, we have officially submitted an application to Schmodcast, which is the Kevin Smith podcasting network. And we are anxiously awaiting a response. It's the only one I've applied to so far, just because I think that would be so cool.
Yeah.
But it's a possibility. It's a long shot, but hell, Clerks getting made was a long shot, too.
Yeah, he didn't make that for very much money either, did he?
$30,000. He worked at that Quick Stop when they filmed that. Yeah, he would.
Is that true?
Yeah, it's very true. They would close the store at night and start filming.
Oh my fucking God! I had no idea.
Yeah, $30,000 was the total budget for that film, and it ended up grossing like $3 million or something like that. Very cool. But I think if he, I like to think he's the kind of guy who remembers where he's from and wants to give other guys a chance like that. And we could be those guys. We're funny. We're good. Our show's awesome.
It's true. We are awesome.
I read some inspiring things last night, which you can probably tell by the tone of my voice. Some things that really, I think our passion is selling us the way I always thought it was. And I'm really glad I didn't fuck with the show, and I took your advice and kept it going, because we're just getting better and better and better.
Yeah, I have to admit, I don't make very many good business decisions, but I have to say that was a smart idea.
It really was. And I read a great thing last night about this guy who runs some big fucking thing. I don't know, he's the biggest podcaster ever. He started way before anybody, but he said that the 2,000 listener thing, that's not a rule. That's an industry standard, but it's not a rule. Lots of people get their foot in the door with no listeners. Depends on the show. There's no magic formula to a good show. You're a good show or you're not.
Yeah.
But all these other places I've been focusing on for the last year have this formula. You have to do this, and this, and then you'll get a good podcast. And this guy's going, no, fuck. Yeah, that works, sure, for the most part. But maybe it doesn't, Very cool. You don't need all those listeners.
You're the right person to hear a show or something like this, and they promote it to the right people, and all of a sudden, bam, it just fucking hit.
Yeah.
Never knew.
The thing I like is real personable, and that's what he said, and that's what everybody says. It's more intimate than radio, which is the most intimate form of broadcasting. You have to really touch your audience for them to want to listen to you on the radio. It's hard to keep their attention.
Yes,
podcasting is twice as hard as radio because it's so easy for you to switch.
Yeah.
So you have to be very engaging, be very personal. You can't sit there and read a fucking script. And I wouldn't even know where to begin writing one for us. And we wouldn't stick to it if we had one. So. Like, heaven forbid we ever get a radio show. We're going to get fired the first week.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.